Hey everyone, how are you today? I was just sitting outside enjoying this beautiful sunshine, and I was inspired to do a video to share with all of you my journey with journaling. So I was actually out here with my journal, and that's what got me onto this topic. And so I actually just jotted down a few notes because I've had a lot of people ask me in the past about journaling, if that's been brought up in a conversation. And I just actually recently took my 200 yoga teacher training, and I was chatting with a lot of people there about journaling, and I was really surprised how many people, especially in the yoga world, weren't journaling already. And then I was also really excited to share what my journey has been with journaling, and I thought that this was a great opportunity to share with you maybe what I've gone through so that you could be helped in maybe starting your journey journaling, or maybe if you've already journaled before, if this is a practice that you use, that you could maybe take some of the tips that I have or that have worked for me in the past and that I'm working on now and put them into your practice as well. So first off, for me, I started journaling quite a few years ago, and it was my dear friend Jesse Godin. If you want to look him up, you can. Jesse Godin Movement, I believe, is his Instagram account, and he was helping me through a time. I was really stressed. I was having a hard time with my self-image, which I think a lot of people experience this in their life. And he suggested journaling to me, and at first I was really actually quite put off by the idea, and I didn't think that journaling would be for me. I thought I wasn't a writer and that it had to be this great thing, and he gave me some really great tools that got me started. And so don't mind me, I'm just reading some of my notes so I don't miss what I wanted to talk about. For me at that time, even I was stressed about many things, but one of the biggest things I think for myself was how I viewed myself, my self-esteem. And so what Jesse had me start doing was journaling about things that I was grateful for, so that I could see my life in a little bit more of a positive way. And I think that that is a great place for everybody to start, even if you're thinking that you don't have any issues when it comes to your self-esteem. I think having a gratitude journal is a perfect place for you to start putting pen to paper. And so the two things that I was doing is I was writing down 3 things that I was grateful for, and then he also had me write down 1 thing that I loved about myself. And both of these tasks were really hard and challenging for me. My 3 things that I was grateful for often was, very broad. I would say I was grateful for the sun, and I was grateful for, a nice day. I'm using these examples because I'm sitting outside in this beautiful sunshine, but not very specific to my life. And when it came to writing something that I loved about myself, that was really, really challenging. And I think for a lot of us, it's challenging to really look in towards ourselves. So again, I wrote really broad things down. I'm having a hard time even remembering some of the things that I said, but I remember sitting down with my journal and then becoming upset with myself because I couldn't think of something to write down. So when it comes to that time, if you're feeling that way, it's important to know that there should be no judgment of yourself. Of course, when it's coming to journal, this should be a really safe place. So often I'd skip it because I just really couldn't think of anything. And then I started using the tool of really being more conscious about compliments that I might have got throughout the day or throughout the week. And then I would use those compliments that maybe I would often push away, and I started to bring those things in towards myself and realizing what I could use. So for example, maybe someone complimented my long hair. I get that compliment quite a bit. And so I used to actually really hate my hair. I think all of us don't like what we have. And so then I started looking at my hair and wondering I haven't washed my hair today, or, oh, it's naughty, or it's curly, it's frizzy, all these things that I hated. But then I started to realize, what, I am grateful and that I have the opportunity to grow my hair and wear my hair however I want, or something like that. And so I would start finding things to write down, and it did become easier. Not that every day was easy, but that was a really great place for me to start, and I think is a really great place for a lot of people to start. So then as the years have gone by, this has really transformed, and I've used my journal in lots of different ways. It seems to always, or not always, I shouldn't say, it seemed to start for me, and it seems to start for a lot of people when they're feeling negative. So they use it as a space to get their negative thoughts out. And I think that that's great. And that's, if that's what you want to do, is just to start writing all the things that you're thinking about. Perfect. Get them out of your head. Your head is so busy, it has so many things going on, and if that's what you want to do to get it out, that's a great way to go. For me, I really like to always bring it back to that positive side, so I always stick to at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. Now, that has really transformed for me. Now it's not so external and so broad. I try to really focus on 3 things that I'm grateful in that day. And so it can be as simple as, I love my little kitties, my cats. That one cat came and sat on me, and we had a few minutes that it was just him and I snuggling, or me petting him, or he purred, something very simple like that, but I was really grateful. It could be something that someone brought you a drink, offered you a glass of water or something, that you were really grateful that that person thought about offering that to you. And so by thinking about these little things that we're grateful for, it helps us to really see how many things we can be grateful for, and it helps us to bring some really positive light to everything that is surrounding us in each day. Now, I use a little bit more freedom when I'm journaling, and so some days, like I said, I just write my things that I'm grateful for, if that's what I'm feeling. But sometimes I do write. I write a lot, maybe pages, and it's a great place for, like I said, that busy mind to get out. And a tool that I've really used now that I never used to use before is I go back and I read those entries. Sometimes if I have the extra time before I'm going to write in my journal, I'll go back and I'll read a few entries, and it really sheds light of what I must have been feeling and how I worked through that. So sometimes I might read my journal and nothing makes sense. It's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's going off all over the place. And I can see that I must have been really working through some hard things at that time, but sometimes by the end it gets more clear, and sometimes it doesn't. That's fine, but I can really see that. And then there's days where my journal entries are just full of light and full of happiness, and so that makes me grateful that I had that day to feel that way. So I think the biggest thing is to try to be conscious of what you're not seeing in your day, and by journaling it brings that unconscious thought into your conscious thought, and so you can use it in lots of different ways. As a time of day to journal, I don't think it really matters. I journal at different times of the day, and I use technology as an asset for me sometimes. I have been traveling, and so it's not always easy to carry a book around, and so I will do an electronic journal in my notes, and that serves me for that time. And if that's what you want to do, I think that's great. You don't actually have to use a book, but I do find it very therapeutic to be writing, to work through that, and not to have spell check correcting everything, just to have it as your pure thoughts at that moment. I also use reminders on my phone, and I really stick to my reminders. I know a lot of people have 1,000 reminders come up and they just push them to tomorrow or ignore them. For me, that is my task for the day. So if I have a reminder, I have to do it. It's not just there as a gentle reminder, it's there as that's a reminder of something that needs to be done. So set a timer on your phone or something to remind you to write in your journal if it's a hard thing for you to remember to do, and use that as a tool. Now, like I was saying, as far as time, sometimes I like to write in the morning. Today I was writing mid-morning, and it just gives me that opportunity to set my day up in that positive light. I find that when I'm writing in the morning, it tends to be more of that spill of thoughts, and even my spill of thoughts came into doing this video for everybody today. When I write in the evening, it tends to be more of a reflective time for me. So I look back on my day, and it helps me set up for a really good night's sleep, which in turn will set me up for a really great day tomorrow. So I think whatever suits you is fine. And as far as that, I think I think that's a really great place to start. Oh, I know one more tool that I used. I just saw in my journal. Our yoga studio at one time did a gratitude challenge, and they had these little sheets here of things that you could be grateful for. And I keep this in my journal for those days that I'm really struggling to find things that I'm grateful for. And you can look them up. So an example says, what sight are you grateful for? So then I might think of something that I saw that day that I was really excited to see and grateful for, or a tradition that you're grateful for, and the list goes on. So if you're interested in something like this, I'm sure you can Google it, or I can always share this with you. You can send me a personal message. But I thought at this time I would be a little bit vulnerable, and I would go back and read you a few entries in my journal. And this is not a practice that I normally do, but I just want to show you how simple it can be, and how scary it doesn't have to be, and how it's okay to really put these thoughts out there. For me, my journal is personal. It's a safe spot. I never worry about anybody reading what I write in here, and I don't think that you should. It's not something that you should have to share unless it's something that you want to share. So today I'm looking back on a simple entry that I did. I actually wrote 4 things that I was grateful for that day, just in point form. One thing was seeing a gracious picture of my nephew Eli when he donated his hair. So he had grown his hair out and he got it cut off and he was donating it. And just the sense of gratitude he had on his face just made me feel so grateful to see him that way. My second entry was my mom had made me a wonderful, healthy supper to eat. And for me, that's always amazing when someone can cook you a meal that is healthy and going to support your wellness. And so that was great for me. Another thing I wrote is the look that my yoga teacher had on her face when she greeted me at yoga. It wasn't just that blank like, hey, it was really genuine. She was excited to see me there. And another thing that I wrote down was that my cat was attached to me that day. He followed me around the house, and my one cat's a little bit standoffish, so it just made me feel happy that he wanted to spend time with me. So that's as easy as it can be. You can write more, you can write anything you want. I don't think that it has to be specific, but if you're having a hard time starting, I hope that these tools can help you. And please feel free to reach out to me. What else would you like to know about journaling? What else have you tried maybe that would really help other people to journal? Me buying a book that I love the look of and makes me feel good, that's another little thing that I love. For other people I know, it doesn't matter. It could be a scrap piece of paper that they just file away. So I think anything can work as long as it suits you at that moment. But I do think that this is something that everybody can benefit from. So please, like I said, do not hesitate to reach out. I hope that you enjoyed this. Comment below what you loved about this video, what you'd like to learn more about, or maybe something that you would like to offer to everybody else. But yeah, that's all I have to say for today. If it's sunshine where you are, be grateful for that. Even be grateful for the rain, whatever is happening in your external world, so because you know that it's all there for the purpose of that day. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my sunshiny day. I love you all, and I hope to see you on my Instagram or Facebook page or somewhere enjoying the little tips that I'm giving you. Love you. Bye.